Mike at it.
Hey, Mike.
You know, he's talking about his sister. You know, I think about watching those people that, you know, seeing somebody swill something for that long. I think, well, that's alcohol abuse. Look how they're treating it. You know, thank God that I'm in a room full of people that understand the way I think regarding substances. If you try to tell people out there some of the things we discuss in here, they look at you like you were crazy. And in that respect, without the steps, like the book says, I can be strangely insane. But today, I see things the way they are. And the way they are is that, and how I know that I've been restored to sanity is I don't believe that I can drink or use without harm. That was when I went insane before. I would believe I could do it without harm this time. And today, I'm firmly committed and understand and believe and have conceded to my innermost self that I belong here. When it talks about alcohol, I can understand why it would fall on deaf ears to so many people these days, because alcohol is something that, you know, there's other things going on today, let's just say. And in the book it talks about the only thing we have to suggest is entire abstinence from alcohol in whatever form. Now that's the book that says that. So really it was so prophetic, not pathetic, prophetic, for him to say 80 years ago something in that book that would apply so perfectly today, because there are so many forms of alcohol going on. But my observation in my tenure here, which is bordering on substantial, has been that alcohol seems to be the tripping point and the tipping point in the gateway for so many other people that didn't previously have a problem with alcohol. So what do? They say, oh, well, I didn't have a problem with alcohol. Let me go take a drink. And what happens with something that's in my mind is I don't know, everybody else is different and they have certain substances that they like, but everybody has something that did it for them. As Bill W. would say, it clicked. So I may take a drink and I say, you know, well, this is all right, but I know what I really like. Now, by then, my inhibitions are lowered and it's that easier to call Pookie or Riri. So the thing about it is that the problem I have is not what I do after I've started. My insanity is the mental state preceding the first one, and I have to safeguard that and protect it. Now, early on, I agree that, you know, I've heard a lot of newcomers, and I even saw that page myself and thought, see, it tells me I can go. I'm not reading the fine print, nor am I reading between the lines. It's saying, hey, dummy, don't do that. And I really missed the part that this chapter is after I've worked all the steps in the book. Just about the time that I could go to a lot of the places that I used to go. What I find from working the steps and looking back at my experience, that the place and the trappings and the dogma and the ritual that went along with all that I did was almost just as addicting as the actual substance. The getting it, the chasing it, the chopping it, the risk of it. You know what I'm talking about. And I realized, wow, you know, and so just about the time when I work the steps and I get free, those places that I used to think were so important, and it's not just bars now. Let's be clear. It could be somebody's dingy, piss-smelled basement. Felt right at home. Just about the time I feel like I could go to one of those places safely, somebody's already said it, I realized that those places don't have the pull on me they used to. And now I can see, so wow, you know, I really don't even want to go, even if I could. I think that's really the message that page is trying to tell me. You know, when I think about shielding myself from temptation, I know what he was talking about. He was talking about hiding. And you know, my observation has been shielding from temptation has become a cottage industry. Everybody's in the business of shielding people. Come stay here, we'll protect you. But the truth of the matter is that, like it said on that book, no matter where you go, if you go hide out at the Greenland ice cap or insert your favorite 3-letter word for a certain place, you can find that Eskimo that it talked about. There's Eskimos on that page. It says you'll find a friendly Eskimo with a bottle of scotch. So it's what you're looking for. you'll find. If I'm looking for people in recovery, I can find them. If I'm looking for somebody to dollar up and get 2 for $15, I can find that as well. And actually, more people find that than the other. That's why we're still meeting in this room after 30 years. I mean, so I look at that as a challenge to myself. Do I still want to be here? You know, when I think about what it's talking about spiritual fitness, hell, I don't know what that's defined as, but I can tell you I look at things a lot differently. I can go, to me, and I'm just going to speak for me, true recovery starts when I can get in my car and go anywhere I want without having to get a slip signed, without worrying about what the judge is going to do next month, without so-and-so threatening me, without worrying about is my color coming up, and I get in that car and I still go to a meeting. That's, to me, when I have that choice and I make that choice, my true recovery has started. Hell, anybody could chain me to a tree for $29.95 and guarantee I wouldn't use that night. But that's not freedom, folks. What these steps talk about is freedom. Not having to worry and look behind me because the grim reaper of addiction is going to lock my head off at any second. He is not. I am no longer afraid. I was for a while. If you're new, you may be right now. I understand. But I promise you, if you work the steps, you will see this page in the light to which it was intended. And what it was intended to say was, hey, why don't you give these steps a chance? And it may transform your mental attitude about this entire subject. It may not be about trying to stay away from it anymore because the problem will just be removed. Now, if I'm going down to the crack house to see how my buddies are, I'm a fucking idiot from jump. That's not a socially acceptable place for me to be. I don't care how spiritually fit I am. Believe it, there's somebody in here that was thinking about doing just that because of this page. And part of what my job is somebody who's been here to say, you know what, I've been there, I've thought that, I was wrong. I've been in meetings, I've heard that, and I've seen how it ended up for those people. Let me share that with you and maybe save you that trauma. So this page has a lot to say. Today I don't need to be shielded. And I certainly don't have to pay anybody for my sobriety. The most important thing I ever got here was for $5 when I bought my first big book. I'll pass.